Clint Cosgrove, Rivals.com, back with Coach's Corner. Very special guest, the head coach of University of Arizona, Coach Jedd Fisch. Thanks a lot for coming on. Talk some Arizona football today, man.
You got it, Clint. Great to see you again, buddy.
Always a pleasure. Got two eyes this time, and I'm excited to talk about what you guys are doing down in Tucson. And, you know, I just want to start with, you came into a rebuild, but right off the bat, your first full recruiting cycle, you guys signed the top class in the entire Pac-12, impact guys like T-Mac, and then you see it making big strides on the field, just signature road win over UCLA, top 12 in the country. Tell me about your approach to the rebuild and how you've managed to do what you've done in the past year.
Yeah, when we got here, it was one of those weird set of circumstances. They were on a 12-game losing streak that went on over 2 years because of the fact of COVID. So, the last time they won a game was in October of 2019 before we arrived.
Wow.
And when we started figuring out what we needed to do and what type of roster rebuild we needed to make, it was a real question on how many guys wanted to be a part of the build versus how many new people did we need to bring in for the build. And, as the year went on last year, we competed in a lot of games. We played hard in a lot of games. But we weren't as talented. We weren't ready to win a lot of those games and want to win in one game. But we felt as if throughout the whole process that as long as we showed on the field that our guys were going to just compete till the very end, people are going to want to be a part of our program. And, we also saw it as a way that we could sell opportunity. And we lead the nation in freshman starts. We have 7 true freshmen that start for us right now out of our 22 players. Which is the most by far. I think the next behind us is 4. And that's each week. That's not just 1 week as a one-off. The last 3 weeks, we've started 7 freshmen. Our whole second defensive line of 4 freshmen play at a time. So it's a pretty neat deal. And then, it's beginning to come together. Our guys are getting better. They're working hard together. And I think we need one more good signing class and then really get to where we want to be.
For sure. I mean, that's eye-opening, the amount of freshmen that you have playing and the things you guys are doing. I know the offense is clicking. You're winning games. And I do want to talk more about Arizona football, but I think one thing that makes you very interesting as a coach is your journey to where you are today. And, maybe not necessarily the most conventional path, at least at the start. You opted to coach rather than play in high school. You wanted to go and coach for Spurrier. You applied to one college. You weren't taking no for an answer. You end up there working with him. Fast forward to today, coordinator in NFL and college, head coach at Arizona. Tell me about your journey to where you are today and, any advice you could give to any young coaches looking to follow in your path.
Yeah, I think I would say don't follow my path. I can tell you that everything has to go right. It's like you got to be able to all the stars have to align numerous times in a row to be able to for that to occur. I was fortunate, in so many different ways that I was able. I got into the University of Florida in a summer session and just scrapped and clawed my way, to get into the football office in some capacity. And then there wasn't, back in the day, there wasn't a lot of volunteers. There wasn't GA, there was only one GA on both sides of the ball. But found a way to get through there and make relationships. I think the most important thing is you got to show people how hard you're going to work. I mean, I still don't think there's any secret sauce to work. I just think you got to do it. You got to be willing to grind more than others are willing to grind. And it's like real. It's not just like, say I grind, just do it. And, and then you have to be willing to take risks. One thing that I did in my career is like, I took risks. I left jobs that certain people thought was crazy to leave. I took demotions to get promotions. I took promotions, if they presented, but I felt like the most important thing you could do is go work for the right people. So if I had a job and I was had an opportunity to go work for a Hall of Fame player, or Hall of Fame coach, I did it. And I just said, I'm going to risk reputation and or let's call position to make sure that I got to learn from the very best in this business. And And that's not to say any knock on anyone, but I just wasn't going to not work for Bill Belichick when Bill Belichick called. I wasn't going to not work for Sean McVay when Sean McVay called. Pete Carroll, Mike Shanahan, you name the guys, Jim Harbaugh, those guys call, and Pete Carroll, you just do it. And that's just kind of how my approach to it. And I'm fortunate enough that it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, I love, you've always bet on yourself. You've never taken no for an answer, and it has paid off. And you've surrounded yourself with the right people. And, which brings you to where you are today. And you talk about the freshmen starting. You talk about the strides that you've made. And I want to talk recruiting because huge piece of the puzzle, obviously. And you are a great recruiter. I've known you for a long time. Some schools manage to recruit well despite their head coach, whereas, I feel the best ones, recruit well because of their head coach. You're in there grinding with your assistants and not afraid to put in the work. Tell me about your approach to recruiting. And then how have you guys been able to recruit at such a high level, walking into what you walked into on that big losing streak and everything like that?
Yeah, I would say, the biggest thing about recruiting is its relationships, and it's a commitment to time, and it's a commitment to being willing to sacrifice your own time for the good of the team. Players win games. Coaches don't win games. Players win games. And if you have good players, you're going to win more games. If you don't have good players, you're going to struggle. I saw Coach Belichick. He won his 325th game or 326th game, and they gave him the game ball. And the first thing he said is, players win games, and I've been surrounded by good players. And I think that's really the facts, that if we want to turn Arizona football into a top 25 team, then to do that, we have to bring in top 25 talent. We have to bring in players that can win games against other good players and beat teams that have very talented players. And that's what our message has been on the recruiting trail. Why not Arizona? I don't know the answer. I can't figure it out. I look out my window. It's beautiful outside. I see, we have a crazy campus of great energy and excitement. We have unbelievable athletics at Arizona. Basketball, baseball, softball, tennis, you name the sport, we're good at it. So why can't we be good at football? And more importantly, why can't we be great at football? And that's kind of been our commitment.
Yeah. It's showing. And I know as I freeze my butt off in Chicago, I wouldn't mind being in Arizona right now. That's for sure.
Exactly.
I know you can't beat it, man. Palm trees and sun and
What else do you want? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why it would ever be a problem. Honestly, it's a college town, right? I always say it's the closest thing to the SEC in the West. When you think about the SEC, because I went to school in Florida, you would say, all right, there has to be University Avenue. We got University Avenue. You got to say it's got to be filled with bars and restaurants. It's filled with bars and restaurants. You got to have a stadium on campus. Our stadium's on campus. You got to have a basketball arena across from your football stadium. We got that. You've got to have a big state university. We have that. You have to have a law school, a med school, all the things that all the SEC programs have. We have that. So, and then you got to be good in baseball. You got to be good in softball to be an SEC program. And we are that. So I don't know what we don't have other than, let's call it, all of the tradition that some other programs do. And that's what we're looking to build.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm an Arizona State grad. You got me wanting to head to Tucson right now after all of that.
You're gonna get in trouble for that one.
Oh, I know that. I surely will. Well, I know you're busy. I know you got a QB meeting coming up. I want to finish with this. Team's buying in. It's obvious. There's no quit. They look like they're having fun. And I also know this is just the beginning of your tenure. You probably don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. I know you're a process-oriented guy, but how far can this program go under your leadership? And when it's all said and done, what would you consider a successful tenure at Arizona?
Yeah, I would start with a long one. I would say that, the most important thing that we can do is invest in our program, right? And invest in the consistency of our football program. And we have that investment. And what we have is the ability to, if players and if coaches see that you are committed to consistency, I think you can consistently win. And that's our goal. Our goal is to consistently find ways to win football games. And each year have more and more players want to be a part of Arizona football. More and more coaches want to be a part of Arizona football, and sell out our stadium. You know, we got to sell out our stadium. I always say Utah's the standard in the West. I think if you look at Utah, they're 23-1 in their last 24 home games.
Wow.
They are really, they do it right. Their graduation success rate is over 90%. They put players in the NFL. They get first round picks. They don't have to brag about it. They just do it. And they're tough. I mean, they are tough. They're physical. And I consider them the standard and out here. And what we'd like to do is we would like to match that standard and they've had the same head coach for 19 years. Yeah. And I think it's pretty neat and pretty cool what they do at Utah. And I've told Kyle this. I've said it to the media every time we played Utah. That's our goal. That's our goal. Sell out our stadium, make it the hardest place to play in the West, and then figure out a way to consistently win.
Incredible. High praise for sure. I'm excited about what you guys are doing at Arizona, Coach. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll be watching you the rest of the season. And obviously, as signing day comes up, so you guys pull some more magic coming up. So thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Clint. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
For sure. We'll see you.